Icon Comic Con presents Behind the Comic Book Podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Mr. 845 here, and we are back doing some more comic book creators for our Icon Comic Con. Remember, this is coming November the 1st. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Fishkill Rec Center. We have a smorgasbord of different comic book vendors, artists, voice actors coming. But first and foremost, I definitely want to make sure that we interview and check out these different comic book creators that we have on our episode today. So, Terrence, Darius, tell us who you guys are and what do you do?
Terrence, you
Oh,
want to kick it off?
yeah. Well, my name is Terrence Branch. I'm the co-owner of Unbound Comics. We are from West Memphis, Arkansas. We're the first Black indie um comic book publisher that's out of Arkansas.
Darius, you want to
Yeah,
add anything?
yeah. My name's Darius Jordan. I'm the other co-founder of Unbound Comics. Um, Echoing some of Terrence's sentiments, we kind of started the idea back in about 2019, 2020, somewhere around the time frame. And we kind of just been fleshing things out for the last couple of years. And as of last year, we published our first book, and we're keeping the train rolling.
Nice, nice. All right. So, um, the biggest question I always ask is if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to work with you, if they want to support you guys in your endeavors, how exactly would they do that? Like, how would they support you?
So we have active accounts on pretty much all the predominant social media platforms. So we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and you can just search Unbound Comics. And we pretty much carry the same kind of imagery on all the platforms. So if you find one, you more likely find the others because we embed most of our links on all the platforms,
Okay.
including our digital storefront.
And we'll also make sure that we have those links to put on the YouTube channel as well. So that way, if somebody just wants to click on the video, they can just literally see all your links. So we'll embed that there too.
Awesome.
All right, so kind of let's go through it, right? You guys are comic book creators. You have different characters and series that you work on, but let's start from the beginning. Let's go way back, okay? So when you guys were younger, probably like in elementary school, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I know I wanted to be a couple of things. I had wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be a football player. It was just everywhere around the place and everything.
Darius?
I was a big nerd, so I knew whatever I wanted to do, it was either going to be illustration, graphic design, story writing, something in that space. Now, of course, as you get older, your older relatives will kind of let you know uh, that's more kind of like the hobby space. It's not super, I guess, reliable. So you may want to have a backup plan. So I guess toward the end of, I guess right before I started middle school, they started nudging me like, "Hey, you're good in math. Why don't you try to be like a doctor or a pharmacist or an engineer?"
Mm-hmm.
Um, I pursued one of those, but I stayed out of the medical field. Science wasn't for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it is a difficult path. So you guys, had these different career aspirations, and you saw the fact that you still love comics. So take us through like what eventually started you guys in Unbound Comics.
Uh, um, like once, like I want to say 2018, ending part or 2019, I was having this idea of a character or whatnot, and I knew like what he was going to be like, but I didn't have the name or all the other background to it. So I came to Darius. And I said, man, because I had seen Darius, because Darius draw as well. I was like, man, I had this idea of a hero, man, and I wanted to run it by you, and he would just tell me shoot my ideas and everything. And once I was telling him, we just kind of went from there and everything. It took us a long time to get to the actual name of the character, stuff like that. Then I was telling him, man, we need to bring on another person and everything. I had mentioned our other partner, Derek Dent. So we got that started and stuff, and well,
Okay. So you propositioned Darius. You said, "Listen, I got a character idea. We got to run, right?" And
Mm.
then Darius, what did you say?
I don't remember exactly, so I'm going to paraphrase a bit. Um, but I knew at that time I had my own kind of ideas and aspirations for what I wanted to create,
Mhm.
but I had a lot going on, like mostly work and being a dad. So it was hard for me to kind of find the time to fit everything to my schedule to basically spend more time on brainstorming. So once Terrence kind of gave me uh, a more solid foundation, I more or less just kind of went along with his idea and contributed to that. And some of my ideas I was able to carry over from some of the other brainstorming sessions I was having. So pretty much he initiated, he was the catalyst, and I just kind of came along for the ride and threw my ideas in there kind of as needed. And
Okay.
it's pretty much been a partnership since then.
So take me through the series, right? So what's the name of the title of the comic?
Blitz.
Blitz. Okay.
Yes.
And who's the main antagonist or protagonist? Like who are the characters that we're looking at here?
Okay, well, our flagship character, well, his name is Blitz. Yeah, our first hero of Unbound Comics. Um, he's a guy. Well, he as a kid he came across these powers that couldn't be explained or whatnot. He's human and whatnot. He got human parents. And like they like I don't know how you got the powers or whatnot. So as he was a child, as a teenager, he came it was an accident that happened and he felt like he failed miserably and so as he grew up and everything, he felt like, you know what, I think I want to do this again and everything. But he don't know how will the world accept him, you know, because first of all he's a black character and like he don't know how the world will portray him and everything. He got these godlike powers and stuff like this. So
Okay.
pretty much what's going on with him.
So now you're taking us through his as he grows up, or is he an adult at this point, and these are like flashbacks?
It started off as a teenager, then fast forward to adulthood. He actually take on the mental.
Okay. And what's the skill set so that way people can kind of see kind of like what type of um power set does he have?
Okay. He's very, very strong. He have lightning abilities because this was his first ability that he found that he can do or not. So that hence the name Blitz with the lightning bolt in the middle. Um he very fast. Um he got different types of ability like when it comes to X-ray, laser vision, super breath, stuff like that. The pretty much the norm and everything. But he's still developing. He don't know exactly what all he can do right now, even as
So
an adult.
so would you say he's like an amalgam of like different characters? Because like you have Superman, you have Black Lightning. I mean, from the sound of Luke
He,
Cage, it kind of
he
sounds
is like
like a
he had
mixture
like
of all three. So for
he has
now,
like if I could say his power set like is based off like it's more of a Superman like Thor type of character. If y'all fuse the two, that's pretty much it. So I'm not.
okay. And what kind of brought you guys to developing this specific character? Like, what did you want to like flesh out? Is this something that like you had in the back of your mind because of like something that happened in your life, or is it just something that you were just, I just want to see what this is going to look like?
Actually, like, cause I'm a huge Superman fan. Like, I'm all day, every day Superman and everything. And when I was having this idea about Blitz or whatnot, I'm like, if I'm going to make a character, he got to be on par or better than Superman in my eyes.
Okay.
So,
So you gave him different skill sets on top of kind of like the what you would call like the normal Superman skill
yes.
sets. Okay, cool. And take us through the storyline. So this is kind of
Yes.
like him living in Arkansas. This is him living in another city. Like where do you have the background of like kind of like where this character sits?
Yeah, so like we kind of mix it up a little bit. Like Wonder City is West Memphis. So we just kind of Wonder City is supposed to be West Memphis, and Blue City is supposed to be Memphis, Tennessee.
Hmm.
So so this how we kind of play around with the cities and states and everything. But majority of our in our universe it's still like the same states and everything. It's just a couple of fiction wise.
Okay. Yeah, and then basically, so now he is this character in this universe. You know, what is he struggling with? What is his like path forward? Like, just give us like brief things. And of course, I want people to read the comic book, right?
Right.
So I don't want to give everything away, but I want to be able to
Right.
kind of give a
Right.
little bit of background so that way
Right.
people, if they're interested, they would want to kind of pick up a copy and work with you guys.
So, so I would say him coming out publicly as a hero initiates almost an immediate kind of like arms race. So
Hmm.
you have these different groups, either conducting experiments, uh, doing reconnaissance on perceived enhanced individuals. And so you just have all these kind of like shadowy like organizations behind the scenes trying to amass power now that they know people are capable of these feats. And so Blitz being the first kind of publicized hero is like square in the middle of it. So he'll be
Hmm.
approached from kind of like all facets. He may have some that are directly trying to recruit him. There may be some that are directly trying to take him out just because he's a big player that may disrupt whatever they have going on. And so I would say it's kind of just like this ongoing spider webbing of conspiracies around Blitz. While all the while he has no idea where his powers originated. So even
Hmm.
if someone was able to approach him and say, "Hey, tell us everything about who you are," he's like, "I don't know. I'm still figuring it out too."
Right.
Um,
I just got
so
these powers, I'm just trying to do
right,
my
Right.
best.
right.
Now I see that you guys have some supporting characters.
Mhm.
How many supporting characters do you have on top of just Blitz alone?
That list grows by the issue, really.
Right.
um, so we have I want to say kind of like a vision board. So we don't have every issue mapped out right now, but we have
Hmm.
kind of like these big events that we're working towards. So kind of like if you want to envision like a Marvel movie release slate, we
Hmm.
kind of take the same idea and we'll either put like character names or like event titles and we just kind of map them out. And so most people that we introduce in Blitz, if you don't see them die on page, they're more than likely going to return in some form or fashion. So
Okay.
right now, let's see. Uh, right now we've introduced like three or so villains. All of them aren't like direct like confrontations with Blitz yet, but they're like standing in opposition to him. And then
Okay.
there's his kind of like immediate core set, which are his parents, his childhood friend, Jade. And so those are kind of like the core characters now. And then we just kind of in each issue, we kind of like drop in another character, teasing, a future storyline or some partnership down the road or future conflict.
Okay. And because now, are all these characters of different like backgrounds, or are like what do you envision as the universe that you guys are trying to bring together here? Is it going to be kind of like explaining more of just like one line of I want to say like of thought processes, or is it more like, I know that you were trying to say that you have like the MCU type of style where you bring in other characters. So is somebody going to come from a different town, come in, and then kind of like throw things out of whack? Or I
Yeah.
don't want to, like I said, I don't want to give away too much because I want people to really read the comic book. But like, if they wanted to kind of go through that stuff, how many different issues are out right now?
So we
Um,
only have three.
Okay.
Um, as far as the, I guess, kind of like crossover aspect, so far in issues two and three, we have introduced new characters that will have bigger roles in the future. So I won't guarantee that every issue will have that aspect,
Hmm.
but definitely as we continue to, uh, I guess, roll out new properties, there will be more opportunities for those crossovers to happen.
Nice.
But definitely in issue two and three of Blitz, we tease more crossovers in the future.
Yeah. And it's kind of important to kind of look at this as, its own, uh I want to say like its own growth process, right? So like you're taking this character, you're explaining the origin stories, right? And then from there you're kind of building on these other characters. And then I'm sure that you're going to have like an Avengers style moment where everybody comes in together and the conflict has to be resolved. What's the premise of your storyline? Like what whose point of view did you use to kind of explain the story itself?
Blitz.
So it's
He's
always going to
like,
be from his background, or is it going to kind of
yes,
tear off?
cause like at the thick of it, like when it actually comes down to it, like it's all about, you know, him, like is he the true kill? This whole mess is going on in Universal.
Okay.
And like I said, like we gonna have a characters that factor into that as well. Um, but for the main part of the story, like it is looking through Bliss eyes with him and how these events playing out.
Yeah, Blitz is his existence is a key contributor of the overall conflict. That's kind of like the undercurrent of the story at large. So it starts off somewhat grounded, but as we kind of dig deeper into his true origins and his lineage, and I'll leave it at that, just as to
Right,
not spoil it too much. But the more you
right,
dive into that, you start to unravel like what's really going on here. And it'll
right.
be it'll be more of like a cosmic adventure than anything. But for now, it's starting out kind of just above street level, I guess.
Okay. And I'm sure that as you're going through this street level conflict, that it'll build. And again, I don't want to give anything away, but so the biggest thing that I always like to ask comic book creators is, going through the storyline, kind of coming up with all the different properties. Is this something that you guys are currently using as like Kickstarter? You're starting with issue one, now you're working on issue two, and kind of go from there, or like how do you go through your funding process in the sense of, do you have all the comics already written out, the storyline ready to go? Because some comic book creators do it that way. Some kind of do it issue by issue as they get funded. Take us through kind of like the back end, if you will, of the comic book creation process.
So the first three issues were privately funded by the three of us. The third person, of course, being Derek, that Terrence alluded to earlier in the call. Um, so we took it upon ourselves to kind of get it started first before, like we were aware of Kickstarters, but just the demographic in the area we come from, we know it's harder to kind of get those funds from outside parties initially, without them seeing some type of product or anything.
Yeah.
So we at least wanted to get the first few out first, and then do our due diligence with networking, appearances, showing them that we're actually like really serious about what we're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
then that in turn has generated more support rather than us kind of leading with, hey, we have an idea, we need your support to kind of help get it off the ground. So we kind of took the opposite approach. Hey, we're getting it off the ground. We need your support to keep the train rolling.
Right.
Um,
Okay. And then now when it comes to um like let's say promoting, right?
mhm.
I know that Comic Cons are available. What avenues do you use? Do you use just social media? Do you use email campaigns? Do you use the Comic Cons themselves? Because I see you guys on your, like, I'm following you on the page type of thing, trying to see kind of like what the comic book looks like, and I see that you guys are actively like out there. So take us through kind of like the promoting process for you guys.
Well, like we try to use more of our social media. We're getting better of using our social medias. Um, every time like we see that we need to go to a Comic Con or a pop up shop, we make sure we try to attend it just to get our name out there more. Um, that mean we post most some every day, or if we like like if like pretty much like if we see something that can provide an opportunity for us, we'll promote it.
Mhm. And then like now, so do you guys mainly stay locally, or is this something where you will travel out, to different Comic Cons and stuff like that? Like what's your favorite place to go to promote your book?
So
We
as
don't.
of go ahead, Terrence.
No, yeah, I was just about to say we've been to what, like three cons or two cons and one expo right now.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's right. Ain't that right? Darius.
Yeah, so far we've mostly traveled to different events between Arkansas and Tennessee. Kind of just as events become available, if we can get the timing down, because I know some of the events that we were interested in, they sell out pretty quick.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's just getting on the grind of finding the right opportunities and trying to get in there before the sales run out. So last year um, we did two events in Arkansas. We did one in Memphis. This year we have uh, three in Memphis so far planned.
Mhm.
Not Memphis, in Tennessee. Two in Memphis, one in Clarksville, Tennessee. And so we're still trying to figure out or trying to see what other events haven't been fully booked and trying to throw as many on the schedule as possible because we have a decent amount of inventory and issues out now where we feel more comfortable leaning more into coordinating, getting out and spreading the word rather than just focus on, development and new projects.
And like when you are actively promoting, what's your demographic, right? Who are you pushing this comic book to? Is it going to be the voice of, just you guys in Arkansas, or is this like more of a African American, like,
everyone,
okay, yeah, that's
everyone.
so, and take us kind of like through the struggle of the actual character, like when the character is actually actively working on um kind of moving forward and really trying to get to uh trying to get to their, I guess, their moment, right? What exactly would that message that you're trying to push from that character bring out for the reader, right? Like what are you trying to show different than other comic book creators?
Well, I think for Blitz, his biggest thing is that he doesn't, so he has role models in a more traditional sense, but for the work that he's doing now, there
Mhm.
is no baseline, there's no rule book to go by. So he's pretty much just kind of figuring it out on the fly, but he's leveraging skills that he picks up, in regular day-to-day life to try to navigate some of these things. So if there's a new conflict, he doesn't always resort to just violence first. I'm not going to punch the guy as soon as I walk up to him. I'm going to talk to him
Mhm.
like, hey, like what's the true issue here? Try to have a little bit of diplomacy. And then of course all conflicts in comic books can't be resolved with words, so eventually
Right,
it gets down to like the bare knuckle brawl, but it's always about trying to gain that understanding from someone else who either may be like you or maybe isn't quite like you, but there's still some type of common ground between the two of you, even if it's just, hey, we both have, these absurd powers that freak everybody out.
Yeah, and
It,
then
it may just be as simple as that, but let's come to some understanding before things get kind of hectic.
okay. And for the most part, like you guys are trying to bring this message across that, this character can exist in this universe and give this type of message that you don't necessarily have to throw the first punch, right? It's more, let's try to resolve this with diplomacy. And then, if you have to though, you have to shut it down, right? So like
Right.
yeah, you have to be that character there that's that working force to eventually give you the capability of being able to help um and really kind of uh, give the positive message, if you will. So that way it's not about the fight, right? It's about the message that you're trying to bring across and then the fight, if it has to happen, right? So that's
right.
what okay, cool. This is a really cool storyline. And if somebody wanted to kind of pick up any of the original copies, the first one, two, or three, where exactly would they go to pick up these copies?
So we have a digital storefront on Stan Store.
Okay.
Um, I believe it's stan.store /Unbound Comics LLC. and we'll
Okay.
we'll we'll give you all the link
Yeah,
details for
give me all the
that.
links. I want to make sure that
Yeah,
we get them all up on there because it's. I mean, this is a pretty good storyline, and I want to kind of get into a more particular topic that's a little bit uncomfortable. But listen, if we don't have the uncomfortability, right, you don't grow. So the question is, I don't see a lot of African American comic book creators. You guys are going into this space as you would kind of say the minority, if you will. Take me
right.
through kind of like the struggles, or if you're getting positive, great. What's the process of being that different comic book creator, and being able to promote your dream, your message, and then how do you get people to embrace that?
I'll let you start off, Terrence. I've seen some stuff too, but I'll let you start.
Well, like for now, lately we've been getting real good feedback. People like it's like in our hometown, it's like people is shocked that like we are doing this and everything. This ain't no everyday thing they see. And when we had went to this Black Business Expo, like a lot of people of our color was like shocked as well. Like when the African American comic book craze happened in Arkansas and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
they would expect it um from a different race and whatnot, and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
they won't expect it from us and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And and I've been learning that like it is a lot of black indie creators out there and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but and some I feel like some is scared to show their creative side because they feel like they are they won't get recognized like the other races will. But like for us, like we pushing forward, like it's like if they can do it, we can too and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. Um but and I know that like we will get recognized, but it's also when it comes to us telling the story and everything, it got to be good and everything. If it ain't no good story, people be like, yeah, yeah, I did it, but yeah, I don't got a good story.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So but um, like it's been good to us and everything. People have been giving us our props, from our hometown to other cities and everything.
Okay. And
Then
and there, yeah.
we've been getting like support from other indie creators and everything.
Yeah, and that's
So
kind of like what I
it's
was trying to
dope.
get at is, are you getting support from the different realms of the United States, worldwide? Like
Right,
where are they coming from in the sense of your supporters, right? Because I know
right,
that in some cases it might not necessarily be always the hometown, but now that
right,
you not only have a hometown advantage, but now you actually
right.
have other people on the outside coming in. So,
Right. Like as I say, like I was saying, telling Darius and Derek, like if our hometown would support us, then the world will follow and everything. So I'm
mhm.
still sticking to that and everything. And and I love like when different races buy our books or whatnot. They put a smile on my face because it's not all about just because we black we need black people to buy it and everything. It's more like it's it's rated for everyone.
Yeah,
If you old, if you young, you know, I don't care what color skin you have. It's comics, man. Comics supposed to get you from out of the real world and put you in a different fantasy.
yeah. But it's also to bring people together, right? I mean, in the sense
Right,
that
right,
you're giving a story that not everybody can see, because it comes from a certain thought process, right? You're giving
right.
your own thought process and really inputting this into the comic, and it's giving a really good message in the sense of well, listen, you don't always have to fight. You have to make the right decision, and that's a good message to bring across, especially when you're talking to multiple different audiences in your growth as you guys grow. I know, Darius, you wanted to say something as well.
Yeah. On the I don't want to say negative side of it, but um, one thing I've been observing, just kind of just here and there, and it's not just with us, it's with some of the other Black comic creators too. While we've still been receiving overwhelming support, you still can kind of come across those kind of divisive comments or narratives. Um, for example, one of our colleagues, Ronnie Creates. Um, I've seen some discourse under some of his social media posts around, incorporating police brutality and things like that into his storylines. And so,
Mhm.
just from coming from our background, that's kind of some of the kind of sticking points that you see some Black creators try to navigate.
Mhm.
These scenarios happen to us or people like us, and if we tell a story about it, there are going to be those just kind of random voices off in the distance, disagreeing with it, trying to shoot it down or whatever.
Yeah.
So, um, something like I said, it's something that we've seen. We haven't touched on some of those kind of real world topics yet in our books, but we're just kind of seeing through other people's perspective, kind of what they're encountering once they get to that point. And then, of course, there are other just various stigmas. Like I've seen, it's kind of absurd. I've seen some comments saying, "Why do Black comic creators have to use so many Black superheroes or something like along those lines?" I'm like,
Oh
well, I
yeah, I
mean, they're
seen
just
it.
they're just
Or
telling stories based off of like their upbringing and what they're used to seeing every day.
Yeah.
So I mean,
or
it's
or,
no
or why
different.
or why
Go ahead,
black
Terrence.
black characters always gotta have lightning abilities or whatnot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's another
And
one too.
that's the like
Yeah.
yeah, all the time and everything. And like I said, with Blitz, he only don't have just lightning ability. He had, a lot of
Yeah.
powers and everything.
Yeah, and I mean I see Impound on social a lot, so it's something
Mm,
that he kind of stresses that same type of message, and um the biggest thing was like he always asks people like if you had to name how many people that like Black characters that had lightning powers, can you name all, like 10 or something like that or 5 or something like that? He
Right,
gives like a
right, yeah.
number. But I know that you diversify from that in the sense of you brought different types of skill sets on top of the lightning powers, and those lightning powers might be different, right? I
mhm.
mean, my favorite as like a lightning powered character is Static Shock. I mean, I grew up with it in the '90s.
Yep.
It was the it was like the coolest one because like literally he was surfing on like, and being from the Bronx, so I'm in inner city part and kind of like looking at that. That was some cool stuff to see.
Right.
Um, when you're kind of going through these different types of iterations of comics and stuff like that, do you feel that you should be able to put in your comic books a overarching message, or is it something that you just love the comic books, you want to get down to the nitty and gritty? If that message comes across in your storyline, it comes across, but you're really more focused on the storyline. So like, what is the basis of the message? Like, do you want to have a message in the comic book, or is it just the love of it?
To me, it's just the love of it. If it come across or
Yeah,
whatnot. Like I said, like I don't want to make nobody uncomfortable by
yeah.
reading our books or whatnot. But like, if we need to touch bases on a certain topic and everything, we will. It shouldn't be no fuss, no muss about it and everything. So
I mean, making people uncomfortable is what comics do, though. I mean, if you look
yeah.
at it, like they have LGBTQ plus characters in a lot of the Marvel and DC. I mean, if you look at like Aqualad alone, they have like a throuple going on in some cases. So it's something where a lot of comic books always challenge the status quo, if you will. But coming with a different storyline, coming up with a different background in your storyline, in the actual antagonist, and kind of getting through that, I think that's a good message to kind of bring across. So, being that question, right? If there was a comic book creator out there that eventually wants to become you guys, right? They are an aspiring, little kid, wherever in the United States or even the world, and they're like, yo, uh Unbound Comics is really coming up with this Splits comic book. It's amazing. I love it. What type of message would you want to give them to kind of help them grow their own comic book and bring it to light?
I'll let you
Probably,
take it.
yeah. First and foremost, I want to say be authentic. So try to be different, but not just for the sake of being different. Tell your story, whatever speaks to you, whatever you gravitate towards, whatever motivates you, um, either creatively or just, professionally. I would say pursue that. There are tons of ideas out there. I know a lot has been done already, but whatever you feel passionate about, pursue that because if you try too hard to stick to an agenda that you yourself don't really even believe in, you won't get very far with it. So make a story, make a character that you identify with. Don't be afraid to incorporate some of your personal matters into it. Of course, I mean you can use like alternate names or whatever. You don't have to put yourself out there on Front Street if you don't want to, but don't be afraid to tap into your life experiences or the experiences around you from other people's perspectives. Yeah, start there. Connect with your story as much as you can so that you'll kind of stay motivated to keep going with it.
Nice. Terrence, you were saying something as well.
Oh yeah, there's he really pretty much summed it up and everything. I could say like take your time if you feel like if you feel that your story ain't right, is don't be scared to take your time with it so you can make it perfect for you and everything.
Yeah,
So, just take baby steps if you got to. I
yeah,
don't rush
yeah.
it.
I mean,
Because the more you rush yourself, like more mistakes you'll find in your craft or whatnot. So
yeah. I mean, it's important. It's important. Being somebody that grew up with comic books, I had a really hard time reading. So I say the story almost on every episode. Is like, um, it without comic books, I would stutter more than I stutter now. I would actually
I
stutter,
feel you.
reading, because I have ADHD and I deal with that. But like they want you to read these big novels, but like seeing the pictures, seeing the artistry, seeing a lot of the things that um combined to the story, it really focuses you in making sure that you read, right? So it definitely can help anybody to be able to have a comic book and really kind of get a lot of that context, if you will, not only in the visual cues but also with the words and kind of like the action. So it's something that it I always kind of like try to push for more kids to read comic books because of the fact that they come up with different stories, because they give you the capability of learning to read properly, because it's more language, right? It's not necessarily I'm going to read a novel and it's line by line by line by line. This is like I'm actually having conversational expression in these slides, or in the actual comic book pages themselves. I wanted to make sure that we kind of get a lot of information from you guys in the sense of like the story and stuff like that, because it's important. Now, in your latest episode or your latest issue of Blitz, are there any like ways that if somebody wanted to kind of like work with you, right, and they wanted to help you for the next step, like are we going on issue 4? Is there a Kickstarter coming down the line? Like what are we looking at?
um, I guess for right, it will be an issue 4. But like we got like 2 other characters that we're trying to push out before issue 4
Okay.
come about. We have we have a crossover between one of the characters and Blitz, so we're not coming out soon.
Okay.
So
And this
so
is
yeah,
like a totally different comic book.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And what's this character's name?
Miss Phenom. Um,
Mix Phenom?
nah, Miss Phenom.
Oh, Miss Phenom. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Um,
now because that's what I was kind of asking before. So Miss Phenom is going to be this character that's like I saw a character that looked kind of like Wonder Woman, um but also I saw another character that looked kind of like the Thing. um are these the two characters that you're talking about?
no, no, the character that looked like the Thing. This Creek. His comic probably come out later. But they that particular character is based off me or not. But Miss Phenom and Blitz. I mean not Blitz. And Ace. That's the 2 characters that's coming out this year with books or whatnot. Um,
No,
then after.
I mean the character development on these characters is like sick. I'm just looking at the way that they're like um designed, and it's like like you see the elements of where you were coming with it, but it's so different that it's like I actually could rock with this character. I mean, these characters that I'm seeing like that on your page are like they come from like the same type of shell, if you will, but totally different in the personality of the way it's drawn, right? So it
Right.
gives you like that different pop and feel. So take us through those other two characters so that way we can kind of get a better idea.
Okay. Miss Phenom, like she's our first female hero getting introduced into comics. Uh, she would put you in the mind of of Wonder Woman, or yeah, more of a Wonder Woman type base character.
Mm-hmm.
But she would have a long storytelling, because she kind of like she's a good key point of our story or whatnot. And far as character Ace, he more of our technical character.
And this is the one that has the two axes, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the guy that that you need to run from and everything. Uh,
It's like, listen,
but
man, if I'm running with two axes, you better run too.
yeah, like one thing I can say about our story, like like a lot of stories got like the no kill rule, stuff like that. Like in my opinion, like I feel like if you trying to save people and everything, and this the villains constantly killing, or it possibly can kill you, you need to go ahead and take them out and everything. Like,
Okay.
if you look at a soldier or whatnot, soldiers over there protecting us, so they killing people, but they don't make them a bad person or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So like with the no killing rule, like our characters won't kill unless they really have to.
Okay.
And like, because this kind of always been a cringe to me. Even though with my favorite superhero, Superman, like he got a no kill rule, or Batman. Hey, come on now! Like you can't letting a Joker run around Gotham. You need to put this
Mm-hmm.
man down.
Yeah, and I
You
mean,
know,
there's a multiverse where that does happen, but it's like,
right,
you're bringing out the different aspects in the sense of, you know, why would you let that villain continue to kill, so one person versus millions, right? You're saving millions for one
right,
person. Yeah, so I
right.
totally get that.
Cause it's just like Captain America. Captain America, he'll kill, but everybody see him as this noble good guy and
Hmm.
everything. So if Captain America got a
So
problem
one of
killing,
my favorite characters, because of, like, and there's different Captain Americas, right? So
right,
it's the fact that one, anybody could be Captain America, right? So it's
right,
not just one person, because I'm Latino, so it's kind of like I get to be seen as a Captain America character too if I wanted to. And then on top of that, it's the fact that he's a no holds barred kind of character. If he has to put somebody down, he's going to put somebody down. If he doesn't have to put somebody down, he'll take them
right,
down, but settle them
right.
out. But when it comes to your character builds, so Miss Phenom is kind of like your Wonder Woman. It's kind of like, I mean, the way that she has a bow, her power is the bow. I'm
Yes.
Yeah,
assuming,
the
and
bow
kind of,
staff and the shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, and so that kind of gives me a very Wakandian feel, right? So is that kind of like where you were kind of combining the two characters in that sense to kind of give her own backstory, and then what is her backstory?
Um, There's you back. You do a better part. It's not sporting to me. I'll let you.
Um, so without getting into the very specific story pieces, her family is the refugees from an African-based country.
Okay.
So she's in the States when her story starts. Um, and her father was also a soldier across seas in Africa. So a lot of the kind of like self-defense training that he passed it down to her because he knew the climate they were moving into. Everyone knows kind of the racial tensions that historically have plagued the U.S. So, and then not even just that. When you take race out of, there's still like just like a lot of just random crime, and one of the most targeted groups in the U.S. are like isolated single women, and so he just wanted to make sure that he was taking his daughter out of what many would have perceived, safe, familiar territory into this new area that he wanted her to be most equipped to handle herself. Now, in addition to that, she did randomly develop powers after the fact.
Okay.
So she was already pretty much somewhat trained to be able to defend herself if she needed to. and then she kind of just got this ability to pack like an extra punch behind it too.
Okay,
But
cool.
we won't get into all the
Yeah, yeah.
aspects of where her powers come from because that would be told in her story too.
Yeah,
Right.
so if you definitely want to check out how Miss Phenom gets her powers, you definitely have to pick up one of their books on that series. So that's a separate series altogether.
Yes,
That
Yes.
Blitz. And
still in the same universe, but separate series.
then Ace, the tactical character. Take me through kind of like a little bit of a background on Ace. Is this the mystery character that kind of like nobody's gonna know until the end type of thing, or like what are we looking at with Ace?
He debuts in issue 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mini crossover with him and Blitz.
and
Very
now he
short
Right.
has his own series as well.
Yes.
Okay,
in development. Yes.
Yeah.
okay. I'm sure that this one's going to be a little bit more gruesome based on the fact that he has two axes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have people that are really looking forward to his story.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So now is his first issue out yet, or it's in development currently?
It's in
In development.
development.
Okay,
Hopefully,
We're
hopefully around
targeting fall.
right.
all right. And so far, since you guys have come up with all these different characters, have you had anybody cosplay as one of your characters yet?
Nah, not yet. Well, we hope to have someone cosplay.
Well,
Somebody will.
I
I mean,
cosplayed a side character.
Oh
yeah.
well, yeah, yeah. He cosplay a
So
side character, but like
so
Okay.
in
part.
issue 2, we debuted a supporting character, Agent Brendan Scullark. And he's based off of my likeness for the most part,
Okay.
with some comic book exaggerations. But he's if you want to look at it, kind of like a just like a tactical, skilled, kind of mercenary for hire type character.
Hmm.
Um, and so he does government contracts, so he steps in with these kind of like either covert operations or these kind of special cases, which eventually becomes like the enhanced individuals. He steps in to kind of coordinate the units that pursues those. He doesn't have like the kill first mentality, but kind of like Captain America, if it comes down to it, he has full capability to do so. And so his attire at this point is pretty normal, so it's pretty easy to cosplay. You just throw on like some business clothes and then you throw on like a SWAT vest over it.
Okay.
So
So he's basically the agent in the government that's kind of orchestrating everything for, like, I guess whatever agenda that's going to be happening at that point in the comic.
right, he eventually he'll be like a liaison between the superhero community and the government. Um, so he leans more towards supporting the enhanced individuals first, because he's been in all different sectors of the government, so he kind of knows the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. And
Okay.
so he knows that even though they may tell the public one thing about what they're striving to do, he knows that there's always like another hand, or another shoe to fall after that. So um, he tries to take the more personable approach with enhanced individuals first to basically determine if they're actually threats or just kind of misunderstood, and then he instructs his team to kind of proceed accordingly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. I mean, this is some great stuff. I like being somebody that's in the comic book world. You kind of only hear about maybe like the big three, right? If you wanted to count Image as its own big entity now, so you hear
Mhm.
about Marvel, you hear about DC, you hear about Image. Being an independent artist and comic book creator, you don't necessarily get your light out there. So this is kind of like why I created Icon Comic Con, is for that very reason, is because I want to see all the different characters that are coming out there. Because one, again, comic books help me read. Two, you got to support the independents, because without that, you're going to get the same stories, right? I mean, there's
Right.
only but so many different ways you could say how Batman was created. You can only say, like, other than like the Bat Who Laughs, and kind of like that storyline where you took it totally to the other side. It's kind of hard to come up with the same. It's the same character though. It's like you're
Right.
building on the character, but it's the same character. So to be able to really give into the different stories and to really immerse yourself in different storylines, having support of the independent comic book creator is very important. Before I let you guys go, because I know that we're coming towards the end of our episode here, I want to be able to kind of give everybody a chance to hear your message, right? So you guys are coming together, the three of you, creating these comic books and these stories. What's your total message that you would want to leave somebody with, as we kind of like talk about these comics?
I would say the message kind of ties into the name of our company, Unbound Comics. We want to inspire and encourage anyone who has any inkling of creativity to just take whatever your niche is and just hit the ground running with it. Don't let any outside influences or perceptions derail you on your journey to making your vision a reality. Like
Mhm.
have no limits, push through all boundaries and barriers that stand in front of you. Take your goal and pursue it just feverishly.
And Terrence, if you have
Uh,
anything.
he, he said he hit it right on the money and everything. Be unbound, don't be bound to anything,
That's awesome, man. Guys, listen, it's been great interviewing you. I really do appreciate the time that you spent with me, and kind of seeing this new world that you guys are creating. It's really awesome. So I want to make sure that we get all the links, so don't forget to send it to me. But this is Behind the Comic Book podcast with Mr. 845 for our Icon Comic Con. Again, Icon is going to be November the 1st in Fishkill. Believe it or not, it's in New York somewhere. It's about an hour and a half north of the city. But basically, it's an independent artist and comic book creator expo where we have comic book vendors, artists, and some voice actors. The biggest message, again, is kind of the things that we do in this podcast, where we want to support the independent artists, we want to support the independent comic book vendors. We have a CGC facilitator there, and that's another question I wanted to ask you before we close out. If somebody wanted to get it graded, can they get your comic books graded and signed?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And everything
Nice.
most.
So you guys could get like one of the first comic books from this comic book company and get it graded, and it would be a moment in history, right? Because you never know where a lot of these characters are going to go, and listen, you guys get picked up, it's just definitely a different storyline. So it's something that's
Oh yeah.
cool. That as you guys grow this universe, you might have your own distribution, right? Your own publishing. So it's something that where you get to the point where you guys are actually bringing on your own independent artists and supporting them as well. So, shout out to you guys. I hope that you guys do as much as you can successfully with a lot of the things that you do. Again, everybody, make sure that you check out iconcomiccon.com. Tickets are only $5 for anybody that wants to venture online right now. $10 at the door. Anybody that's under the age of 11 is free to come to our Icon Comic Con. And that being said, everybody, this is Mr. 845. We're going to be hitting the streets, interviewing more comic book creators and artists to find out more about the great world that they build. All right, guys, that being said, we'll talk to you.